Okay, I didn't expect her video to blow up, so I'm making a tutorial for this. This is the stuff you'll need with the bead numbers on the screen edited in after. I'm not very good at tutorials, I don't know. Now, after you get your string, you want to get about an arm span length of string. You're gonna pick out your top rung of beads, and for the Kinger's theme, I did black. I did 39 beads. These are mini pony beads, so I did 39. If you're using regular size pony beads, you're gonna want to do less, but either way, in multiples of 3, because it's an X-based cuff. Okay, I got my 39 beads on here. I'm just going to connect this to that with a knot. Double or triple knot it with elastic cord. Don't use stretch magic, it kind of falls apart and you need to glue it. It doesn't work very well. I use this stuff. It's like coated in some fabric stuff. Yeah. Okay, the last clip, I only had 29. I recounted it. I have 39 now. We're going to cut off the short tail, leave a long tail, and then I'll show you the next step for the cuff part of it. Okay, so now we're taking our long tail. We're going to string on our 3 beads. This is going to form our center of our X and 2 of our edges of our X. So the white is our center and the orange or the yellow is our edges. So we did yellow, white, yellow, and we're going to connect it to the black. I'm going to have to figure out how to film this with one hand. Okay, so we got it coming out between these 2 beads. We're going to skip 2 and then go through the 3rd one, which means we have to poke this one out. And it doesn't really matter which way you start, but you always have to keep it consistent, so don't be hopping around. You pull it tight, and then you have the beginning of your X. I'll do that one more time. So I'm stringing on yellow, white, yellow, and then we have coming out of these 2 beads. So skip this one, we're going to go into this one, the 3rd one. And then you're going to do that all the way around. Because you did it in multiples of 3, it should, in theory, come out all correct. And you want to pull it tight as you go, or every couple times you do it, because that way it sits, it's going to kind of sit flat like this. But once you pull it tight, it's going to sit up and down. Okay, so we have one last space left. We're going to take the black bead that's connected to this yellow, the first yellow bead, stick it through this black bead, pull it through, and as you can see, it's kind of like flat right now. Once you go around with the black on the top or the other side, it'll look fine. It'll look like an actual bracelet. So once you have it through the black, we're going to go through that first yellow and through that first white, all the way through the tippy top. So now it's poking out of that white. Now we're going to do kind of the same thing, but with orange, black, orange, and we're going to go through each top white bead. So we're going to go through here. And tighten that up. And then we're going to go all the way around, and that'll start forming the edge of the black other side. And doing that one more time so you guys can see yellow, black, yellow, or orange, black, orange through the top white bead all the way around. And you're going to want to kind of try and tighten it a little bit. It's going to kind of flare out, but once you put on all the black beads, it will look fine. Okay, and now that we have the last yellow, black, yellow beaded on, we're going to go through this white bead, through the yellow bead, through the top of the black bead, and we're going to start our round to finish the other edge. So let's do that. And it's poking out through the top black bead. Now we've got this. We're going to string on 2 black beads, and we're going to string through each top black bead. So I'll show you how to do that in a second here. Same concept. Just put it through the black one up here and tighten it so that way it kind of squishes down. And I'll show you one more time here. Got those 2 black beads on there. Go through that black one. And tighten it pretty good. It's looking like that. Then you'll go all the way around and it should flatten itself out. Okay, now I've got my last 2 beads on my string here. I'm going to poke it through the first black bead that went around in this round. And then I'm going to show you on camera how to tie off this bracelet because it is a little tricky. We're not going to tie it straight to the bead, we're going to tie it into the hole or into the string. So there's a little gap in between the beads here. We're going to stick our string in there. And I'm just going to pull it a little bit just so that we can have a grasp on it like that. So we have a big loop over here. And then once we have that, we're going to pull this tight so it's not freaking out. And I'm going to take this and make a loop and make a knot. I'm going to make sure that's over on the edge of those beads so that it looks nice and clean. And you're going to repeat that. Oh, maybe I messed it up. No, I think it's good. It's good. We're fine. So it's tied to that string there. Got a hair in here. Hold on. I'll do it one more time just to show you because I gotta double knot it anyway. So we're gonna go down here, in there, through the loop, and around there. And tie it to that string. It's gonna show on that bead right there, but because I might have poked it in the wrong hole. Should have poked it through that one, but yeah. Now we've got the cuff. I'm going to show you with this extra string here how to make the butterfly and attach the letter beads to the base. Okay, for this butterfly, we're just following this tutorial really. It's some basic bead pet knowledge. Okay, so we're starting with the body of our butterfly. This is going to be 4 white beads, and then we're going to do the 12 yellow beads for the first wing. You string on your white. I'm just going to do this on camera because it'll be a little bit easier to see what's going on here. Okay, and then we've got that. And then we're going to leave 2 tails on either side, about the same length. But we're going to go in a circle and go through just, oh, it's blurry, just this white bead at the end. You can't really see because it's being stupid, but yeah, so we've got 2 tails on this. I'm going to try and make it in the middle here. I might even need more string at the end, but we'll see here. So now we're going to string on our 12 yellow beads on one tail. And I'm going to cut until I have all of these on. Okay, now that we've got our 12 beads on here, we're going to go back through this first yellow bead, just in a circle, like that, the opposite way that you first went in. And it's the little body in the first wing. I'll do it again for the second wing on the other tail. We might need more string, but we'll see. And then same thing, we've got our 12 beads on for the other wing. This is going to be the top wings. And you're going to go back through this first yellow bead, like that. Don't go through the white bead. I'm just going to tighten it up. I'm going to make sure it kind of all sits together like that. There's hair in there. Great. Okay, and you're going to tighten it. Just like that. You got your 2 wings. These are meant to kind of flop around a little bit, so don't be discouraged if it doesn't really look correct yet. Okay, and now I've got 3 more white beads. I'm going to string 1 on either tail and then 1 with the tails like put together into the 3rd bead. So let's do that. 1 on either one. So we've got that. And we're going to put the tails together. This is where you kind of have to make sure your ends aren't frayed and make sure they're about the same length. I'm just going to tighten that up. Okay, so now I've set out the beads for the antennas because this is our little head and this is our little body. So we're going to take 1 tail and just string on white, white, black. Then for the first antenna, we've got that. We're going to go back through our first 2 white beads here and around the black bead. If I could get it in the hole. So really you just have to make sure this black bead is down there. Then you hold the string and just kind of shimmy it around till it cooperates here, and then we tighten it up. And then I'm going to show you the other antenna just to make sure you guys know what you're doing. So we've got this one coming out of the antenna and this one coming out of the No, wait. This one coming out of the antenna. This one coming out of the middle of the head bead. So you're going to take the one that you haven't done an antenna on yet. And just do white, white, black. Same thing for the second antenna. And you're going to go back through your 2 white beads. Right there. Just, again, I have to shimmy it around a little bit, but there we go. Now we've got the head and the body of the butterfly. Now we got to go back down through here, and I'll show you how to do that in a second here. Okay, so we're going to come out of these 2 body beads, which means we have to go through here and there, and then there and there through either side. So we're going to take this one, and I might have to tie some more string on here. I didn't estimate enough. Go through that one. And then we're going to go through that body bead right there on either side. And then we're going to start our bottom wings. And we're just going to tighten that up. And same thing on the other side. Make sure they match the antennas that they're, like which side they're going through for the body and the antenna. You don't want them crossing over. So go through this one. And then this bottom one. And I'm just going to go ahead and add some more string to my tails, because I'm running out. Okay, so now I've got the top half of my butterfly. I'm going to string, and I've added some string by just knotting it together right there. I'm going to string on 7 beads for the bottom wing on either tail, but we'll do one at a time. So here is 7 beads. And then same sort of idea, we're going to go back through in a circle through that first yellow bead that way. We're just going to pull it tight. Then we've got that, so we're going to go grab 7 more yellow beads and then do the other wing. Okay, and then same thing. I'll do it again so you guys can see it again. Put on my 7 yellow beads. Pull them down past the knot because it's in the way. And then same thing, we're going to go through this yellow bead right there, go through that way. Now it's going to look kind of crazy, but as long as we tighten both sides equally, should start looking like a butterfly. But now we got to do the tail. So I believe it's only 2 white beads on the bottom. So what we're going to do is go through this bottom white bead through either side with both tails. And this one hasn't gone through it yet, so we'll go like this. And if you've ever made those like bead lizards, that's basically the same thing as how to make the tail. Same idea, we just might have tightened it a little bit too much. Hold on. There we go. So we're going to take 2 white beads. You go through one tail at a time, but then what you're going to do is go through with your other tail the opposite way. Just like that. And then I'm going to pull it past the knot again. And then same thing, one more time, and then we're going to knot it off. And honestly, it looks like I didn't even need, well, to knot it off, yes, but I did need to add the string to knot it off. So just so that I have tails on either side. This is being kind of wonky, so what we're going to do to fix that is just stretch it out. That way it sits flat. And to knot it, it's just a simple X, go through the loop. And try not to tie it too tight just because it'll get wonky, but gotta kind of fiddle with it. I will tie it, double knot it or triple knot it, and then I will be attaching it to the X cuff. Okay, so now that we've got our butterfly and our X base cuff, we are going to cut off the little tails of our butterfly. And honestly, I'm going to trim this a little bit more. If my scissors would work, just so that the knots aren't there. And we're going to use this leftover longer piece for attaching the butterfly. So let me cut off just a little bit more on there. So this is a little bit kind of up to you how you want to do it, but generally when I'm stringing it together, I try and attach a little bit of the wings to the bracelet and the middle part as well, just because they like to flop around a lot. So I'm going to string it through these 2 beads right here, just straight across. And we're going to string it through the other white bead. Maybe. It wants to cooperate. That's why I love using the stretchy string even for the bead pets, just because you can stretch them out to get into the cracks. So now what you're going to do is kind of estimate where you want your butterfly, and then we're going to go basically make a circle and tie it in between the wing and the body in the X base cuff. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to string it through, I think we're going to go through these 2 beads right here. And that should attach once we tie our other tail together like that. And then obviously this isn't done because this whole thing is flopping around, so we have to tie the bottom of the butterfly body down as well. So I'm going to tie this off camera. It's just a circle knot square knot. Yeah. Okay, I've tied it. I'm going to cut off my little tails as much as I can without ruining the knot. And then we're going to be attaching our bottom of our body to the rest of the bracelet. So I'm going to take this other piece of string here. And I think I'm going to just fold this up for now. And I'm going to match it up to the 2 beads that I did on the top and go through the black. One's on the bottom rung. It doesn't need to be a lot of string just because we're making a little circle. And then I think what I'm going to do is tie it through this bead. It's a lot of winging it, but I will loop back through here and put this down. And now our butterfly is pretty much secured, and I did end up not having to tie down the wings. It looks pretty good so far, so we're just going to tie this. We're going to double or triple knot it. Cut off our tails, and then I will show you how to add the letter beads to the X base cuff. So now we've got our little butterfly on there. You can they won't always sit perfect. They're beads, but it's a cute little butterfly. Okay, so now I've laid out my letter beads here. And generally, I go right next to the butterfly. I'm going to put my letters on the left side of the butterfly. You can do it on the right, but either way, you want to make sure you're tying it to the bead, not to the bead, but to the string. And we're going to start on the top. Leave just enough room for the wing, and I'm going to go in here, in between the beads, not into a bead. And we're just going to tie. We're going to leave a long tail and a short tail. Maybe. It's hard to do this. Awkward setup. Okay. So we've got that tied in between each bead. We're going to double knot that just so they don't fall off. And we're kind of going to go backwards because we're on the left side of the butterfly. And honestly, I could have made it closer, but that's okay. So we're going to cut off our short tail, which is this one. Throw it in the pile. And then we have a string attached to our bracelet. So now we're going to go backwards, so we're going to go from right to left into our bead holes. And we're just going to do made, because we have 2 different strings that we're going to use. Or actually, we could just use the same string, but cut it in half. Or even string it through the center of the bracelet, which I might do because it's a little bit easier. So now that we've got our letters on here, we're going to kind of estimate where they sit, or the length of them, and I found out that it's going to go right through this black bead right there. Because there's only, and this might give it a little bit of looseness, I guess. I don't know, a loop. Yeah, we're gonna have to do one over. Let's pull that out and go through this one instead. Oh, wow. And actually, to make it flat as possible, we are actually not going to go through either of those top beads. We're going to go through this one. And it's kind of just a trial and error until you get it. So, you have to estimate the length and see where to put your string in, and you might have to go in and out a couple times. See, that's pretty flat, so I think I like it there. And now we're going to go in with our eye bead for the eye made. And it doesn't matter which side you go in because it's symmetrical. And I think we're just going to go in through this one. Yep. And then we have a little space in between for the words. Focus. And then we're going to go down through our bracelet, and we're going to do the other letter beads over here. Okay, so I figured it out. I'm going to go through this black bead, these two yellow beads, and back out, so like that way. So we'll go through first this black bead right next to our bead that connected the eye. Pull it kind of tight, not terribly tight. Then we're going to go down, if I could get in here. Oh boy. I'm going to go down through this yellow bead here. Maybe. And then we're going to go back through this yellow and this black bead. Just so we're poking back out of the black beads to do the rest of the words. Okay, and then now we can go, I'm going to go through these two black beads and start my letters here so that I can connect them like kind of centered, or at least close to centered, because it looks like it's a little bit scooting to the left here. And this time we can go left to right. And we're just going to do the IT, the I and the T here. And then I think I'm going to go through this bead. Yep, perfect length. And then we're going to put our U and our P on there, and then we're going to kind of do the same thing where we tie it to the string, not the bead, for attaching the letters in the beginning. We just got to make sure it's tight enough, and I think I'm going to go through this one. And there we go. And then to finish it off, we're going to go between the beads, right here, and we're going to kind of squish it in between the beads there, and go through the loop, and then you can do that 2 or 3 times to double knot it. Same thing. This is a loop. And you can cut this tail off. Boom. Now we've got a cute little butterfly kinger bracelet. Thanks for watching.